Okay, so now we're going to go for the yellow and violet. Okay, the yellow being the light energy, right? So the first thing, oops, we forgot to wet down the surface. Okay, so let's wet it down. So yellow being the light energy, okay, and the violet being the complementary cool color to yellow, right? That's going to harness the light, right? I'm still working on the nice, even layer of water on the area to help facilitate creating an even area of pigment color. Okay. Very good. Okay, so I'm going to make a pool of yellow, right? And I'm going to make sure that I lay down a nice, generous amount of pigment to support the image, the light energy, right? And knowing that the color dries back a little bit. And drying back is a term used, it means it's drying a little duller, right? And drying back, the color gets a little bit duller. It's always very vibrant when it's wet. Okay. And yellow is a very vulnerable color, meaning it's very sensitive, okay? So we're gonna have to be careful with that, okay? Beautiful. That went down nice and easy according to plan, and now we're going to dry it. Okay, so now I've cleared my palette of the big pool of yellow because I'm going to have to mix up a violet, and we always want to keep the palette very clean and direct according to what our strategy is, right? So we're going to make reference to the template again, right? I'm going for cutting out the shape as you previously saw, right? From dark to light, okay? So let's go. So the first thing I do is I want to mix up some violet. So violet is blue, right? We want to mix up enough of it. So it's blue. Right? With a little bit of red in it. Nice, a little bit more red. Okay. Just a tad more red. Okay, so and violet's a hard color. If your pigments aren't good, it's definitely hard to... Okay, so here we go. There's the violet. I'm going to use a very light amount of it. First layer, right? We always work light to dark. Okay, so here we go. So, and I'm going to glide the brush. Glide the brush. It's supposed to be a light layer. Yellow is very, very vulnerable, sensitive, right? So you gotta like, okay. All right, the less I play with it, the better. Right? And it gets lighter to the front. Okay. Okay, perfect. Right, and later on I'll darken the top up. Okay, so now I take my hair dryer, dry it back a little bit. I'm happy with the density of my yellow. Okay, now I'm going to take the smaller round brush. I'm going to add my first layer, right? I'm going to refer to the template, that transition, and everything that falls within that value, right? So there we go, and I'm going to do nice and easy, nice and soft. Okay, and I'm going to include the first layer of the shadow area. Okay, I'll pick up a little water, try to soften the edge here a little bit. Okay, and we'll leave it alone at this point. So now you can see where it's going. Nice, right? Okay, I'm gonna dry it a little bit. Okay, and now I'm gonna lay in my next colors, lay in my next layer of colors, right? I'm going to put in the first shot of the shadow core, right? And reflected light. I'm going to go back to the shadow core one more time. I'm looking ahead. I'm going to give my shadow area another layer. Okay. I'm going to soften that edge a little bit. Okay. Okay. And while it's wet like that, I'm going to hit shadow core once. Okay. I'm going to dry it. Okay. Can soften, try to soften that edge a little bit. Sometimes it's very hard to do without making a hole. Pick up a little water. Okay. Now I can put in a darker value in there. All right. So a dark violet. Right, which means bumping up the blue a little bit. Okay. Okay. Beautiful. And then I can hit the background one more time delicately along the top. Right. Give it that contrast it needs. Okay. And there we go. And you can even pop in a little yellow here to smooth that out a little bit. Cut into it. Okay. Okay. Okay, so moving on, and here you can see where the yellow has a tremendous amount of light energy out of all the colors, right? It's really powerful in its characteristics. We've created the orange and blue scheme, the red and green scheme, the yellow and violet scheme, and now what we're going to do is we're going to do a sort of a black and white, but we're going to use a Payne's gray, which is a black. It's sort of an interesting black. It has a little bit of a blue hue to it. We used the orange, the red, and the yellow as the light energy. This time the light energy is going to be the page, right? The white of the page, right? We're not going to use any white paint, right? So now I'm making reference to the template, so I got to go to gray to light and then create those transitions the same way. So we don't have to, well, we do have to wet the paper here. So the first thing I'm going to do is lay down a layer of water. Okay. And again, this facilitates a nice even, or it helps to distribute the pigment evenly. So we want to wet the page a little bit so the paper is receptive to the color. Okay, and there we go. Okay. All right, and so at this point, because of the way it is, we're going to have to dry it back a little bit. Okay. Okay, so now I'm going to mix up a very light Payne's gray. We're going to use Payne's gray to do our black and white, and the wetting of the image area, the strategy is a little different because we don't want to have the water to seep in where the white is. So I'm going to cut the image from the start with the water prior to applying that first gradient, right? So there we go. So we're cutting out the image, right? And we lay in some water. Okay. So the pigment goes down nice and even. All right. And so here we go. So the first layer of Payne's gray, and as you can see, the Payne's gray has a little bit of a blue hue to it, which is nice. Okay. And there we go. And I'm looking at my template, right? In terms of the values that I need to duplicate, right? Right, and here's where I'm going to cut the okay. And it's dark at the top, light towards the bottom. So I'm going to take advantage of, while it's still a little wet, to hit that background. And the less I play with it, the better. Okay. And so now I'm going to dry. Okay, now I'm going to use the round brush, small one, and I'm going to lay in my first out values, right? Soft edge, core, shadow. So, but the first layer is going to be soft. Ooh, a little bit too strong. Okay. I'm going to go back and soften that front edge that's closer to the light with a little water. Okay, nice and soft. Okay, perfect. Now the shadow area. Okay, and there you go. There's the first layer. And dry it back a little bit. Okay. Next layer, step it back. Right. Right along there. Okay. A little further away from the edge there to give it that illusion of a soft transition, right? And I'm gonna just soften that edge right there a little bit if I can without, okay. Okay. I'm gonna dry it a little bit. Okay, now I'm gonna put the shadow core in there delicately. It's got to be soft. Right in there. Then hit the shadow area. Stepping it back again. It's nice and sharp closer to the object, right? I'm going to dry this. Let's hit the shadow core a little right there. Okay. Nice and dark underneath there. Okay. Looking good. And then I'll hit the background once more in the distance, in the upper part. To punch up the contrast a little bit. And Payne's gray is a wonderful color to work with. It's very versatile. Okay. Okay. Dry it a little bit. the last touch underneath here. Provide that dark area, gives it a little contrast. Okay, and so now we have beautiful results here. We've completed our study, and then you have 2 more areas where you can try either one. If you messed up on one of these, you can try them again on these 2 here, right? Using the same strategy with the colors and so forth. But remember that this edge, look at how this edge is nice and sharp, soft edge, shadow core, reflected light, cast shadow, right? In the darkest areas underneath, right? Follow these values. See, dark to light, dark to light, and so forth. The soft edges, try to achieve them, etc. Okay? And so remember, sharp, soft core, the reflected light, and cast shadow.